All right, let's get to the big story. On the big story this morning, we look at the biggest happenings of the week. There's been so much, of course, happening this week, but two things stick out. The security reshuffle, we did see some fellows go out, others come in. They were confirmed by Parliament the other day. But yesterday was Women's Day. The NRM prides itself in having given a hand up to the ladies, having ameliorated them, having lifted them up, and they, have gotten to a place somewhere. But there are those who think not much has been done, a lot more needs to be done. So we'll be discussing those two issues. Let me get to my guests. The Honorable Solomon Silwani, he's the Member of Parliament for Bukoli County in Bujiri District, but he's also the Vice Chairperson of the NRM Caucus. Good morning, Honorable.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, you look bright. I think the morning is good.
It is a good morning. I'm hoping it's going to get better. We're also joined by Sarah Eperu. I was about to say Honorable Sarah Eperu, but that's coming. I'm probably speaking as a prophet. Sarah Eperu is the spokesperson of the FDC Women's League, and she's also press secretary in the President's office. And that's the
FDC president.
FDC president, because
not,
again,
not president.
within the circle of FDC, there's a people's president, there is FDC president.
Yes.
So which one exactly?
The party president.
The party president.
Yeah.
All right, so there you are. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm
You
happy
mean
to
the
be
party
here
president
again.
is not the people's president?
I'll leave Sarah to answer that one. But the last I checked, it's a different situation altogether. Anyway, let's begin by talking matters. Security reshuffle. We'll get to the Women's Day, which was celebrated yesterday. But the reshuffles that happened on Sunday, which is pretty much the start of this week that's about to end. Sarah, did you see this coming?
So it was long overdue. Although much as it has come, I don't think it is something really to get excited about.
You folks in the opposition have been especially excited about the exit of Kaihura. Why?
I wish there was a huge change. I would say excited. Maybe my friends are excited, but I don't see reason to get excited because I'm not about to see any change. What has happened, well, people might think Kaihura is the bad boy, but I don't think he is. It's his boss because he goes under instructions. And every bad thing that he has been doing, his boss has been watching. So to get excited that Kaihura has gone away, yet the person in charge, in command, is still in place, is not something to get excited about. They have changed the top office of IGP and put Mr. Okoth Ochola, who is extremely professional. That one would excite me. But getting somebody very professional, somebody very good, to prevail over the kind of police we're having now is not a nice story to talk about. In police, as I speak now, we have very few professionals. Many of the people you see in police uniforms are army men, not trained in policing. You find the Kifesi are full in the police. The SP, you remember the SPCs? Those ones were not trained in police, so they just swallowed up. So he's going to prevail over a very unprofessional police. So unless there's a huge, huge overhaul in the whole system, maybe I'll start getting excited. I happen to have grown up in Nakuru, next to the police barracks. I know what a professional police officer behaves like, what they do, and how they handle the day-to-day work. What happens now is bad news. So for us to go back to the original, the Odomel, the Okoth-Ogola kind of police, we need a total overhaul, maybe new recruitment, training. The Britain had really put in a lot of money in training our police. And unfortunately, many of the people that were British trained in police were expelled, were sacked. So the new breed we have probably was brought in to excite the president, because I think you remember at a certain point, he was so concerned that he was not winning in police barracks. So I think he had to sweep out all those people and bring people who are pro him. That is the police we have now. It is, if you want me to explain to you what exactly it is, it's a military wing of the NRM, the kind of police we have now.
Okay,
As long as there's no professionalism, as long as these other people in the police, of course, Ogolla is not going to deliver. That one I'm sure of. He will not deliver unless there is a total overhaul.
Honorable Silwani, why is it important that the police be militarized, as has been the case? You know, it's been infiltrated openly, by the way. Forget about even the leader, but you know, openly, there's folks that at least I know that today will be in army uniform, tomorrow they will be in police uniform. You know, there's no, you know, hidden agenda about that, or well, I mean, you know, hidden fact about that. We know that General Kayihura, who has been at the top of the police force, is an army man. The deputy IGP now is an army man. Why is that important? Why not police be let to operate as a police force?
Yeah, thank you. I think talking about army and police, I think it is not about militarizing police. I think it is the prerogative of the president to identify people who can actually perform.
So there are no people within police who can do that work?
In the forces. Just like when you see when the president is coming up with the cabinet, he can pick like a fellow from anywhere, whether you're in parliament, whether you're not. Just that is the same thing that happens to police. You can pick, he can pick from the army, he can pick from the prisons, he can pick from any of the trained forces and make somebody come and head police depending on the qualities that the president has identified.
Are you saying now we are about to see, for example, teachers being taken to hospitals to operate on patients?
Not teachers. I am talking about security. Security is police, it can be army, it can be the prisons. These are all people who are trained to handle security. They're just placed in different institutions. I am not talking about a teacher going to operate. I'm talking about security, somebody working in the field in which he is trained.
Educate me here. Perhaps I am naive. I thought that the army, the police, and prison services, they all have different mandates.
Definitely, they have different mandates. Yes, they have different mandates,
rankings, and so on. That's why their training is different.
Yeah,
they
have
don't lump them together and they train them together.
They have different.
And so that would presuppose that their mandate is different, even constitutionally. One is law and order, prisons, of course, we know, and the army protecting the country against the enemies and so on. So when you say that they all do the same job,
I mean, they are not doing the same job, but these are all security organs. They are all security organs. A policeman is trained to use a gun to keep law and order, to keep the property of the country, to keep the citizens of the country. The soldiers are trained to defend the country. They are somehow related. And that's why the president cannot pick me, Silwani, a civilian, to go and head police or to go and be posted anywhere in police. But they can pick someone from the army, they can pick someone from prisons to go and join police force depending on his influence, his experience, and his expertise. I think that is a normal process that happens and will continue to happen, and it's something that should happen if institutions are to grow. If you identify that in this section there is a very strong person who is an administrator who is going to help Mulago, you can pick a good social scientist and you take in that area and you head the institution.
Become a surgeon?
And perform, not become a surgeon. I am talking about security. I'm basically talking about security and people within the spheres of security.
That is where the problem is. Because
but for us to blanket say that they are picking the military to push to police, I think it is an understatement. Let's look at how have these people been performing in the areas where they have been. What have they been doing? How has Sabit been performing? I think his performance has been incredibly good.
So let's imagine
that opposition is celebrating the reshuffle, Kayihura. I mean, they don't change people because they are bad, but they change people to improve.
The president told us he changed him because he was a Bini weaver among the other weavers.
He did not mention that so and so was the weaver. He said the weavers have been removed.
Oh, come on.
He did not mention the name of a person. Let's not misquote the president, the fountain of honor.
The president said there were Bini weavers in police. I began to remove them.
Yes.
Only a week ago he fired General Kayihura.
No, but he did not say Kayihura. He has been doing many things. Yeah.
I was going to say, so let's actually imagine that the military folks that are taken to police are incredibly good wherever they are. Is it not an indictment then on government, your government, that it has failed to professionalize the police force, make sure those men and women are well trained, they are able to take on the tasks that are expected of them, that they are good at their job? So it's an indictment on you, good people, that government has failed to make police a good police force, so it has got to get people from outside. That's what you're saying.
When you look at the progress in the development of training skills in police, I think we have progressed tremendously well. Look at police in the 1970s, 1980s, come to 1990s, and compare what is happening today. Police is having different departments, the forensic experts, the CID department, several departments, about 25 that police is now having. They used to have one.
And in spite of all that, murders are everywhere, robberies are everywhere, and so on.
In any quick growing country. In the US, you always see people going and shooting in a club.
So it's okay for it to happen.
It is not okay for it to happen, but in a quick growing economy, there are criminals who infiltrate and can do this. You don't totally say that it's police because of the weakness, it's because of this, but criminals exist. The role of government is to continue as much as possible to press these criminals and to remove the criminals and to fight them. And that's what the NRM government is doing, fighting the criminals. And constantly doing it.
I think
so, Sarah, what I hear from him and several others is that police and government is doing all it can to keep you and I and everyone else safe. But people are being too hard on them.
That kind of laxity is what is killing the police. You see how easily saying it. You can pick somebody from somewhere and put him anywhere you want. We need a professional police. That is why everything has gone very wrong. You have a police that cannot even investigate the smallest case. The smallest case. Then what kind of police is that to be proud of?
I think it depends on your definition of professional.
No, there's no professionalism being showed.
What is
you know, it hurts me.
Let
me tell you, as a woman, and especially after Women's Day, when you talk like that, it hurts me to the marrow. You know, there are deaths, about 23 or 25 deaths.
Which is very unfortunate.
Of women that have not been conclusively investigated. There's nothing that the police can show that maybe we have reached here or there. You know, providing security for our lives is the duty of police. So if they cannot even do that, then what is the use of the present police that we have? So that kind of laxity, that you can get somebody from here and put him there, is what is killing the police. And I know the NRM is not interested in having a very strong institution. They don't even want a very strong police. They want that manyanga police which can be used to do dirty work. When it comes to stopping opposition politicians from, you know, existing or doing their day-to-day political work, police is number one.
I think when
they are on the scene. When Dr. Besigye is talking of going maybe on Kampala Road or going for a rally, the police is very fast on stopping him. Why can't they put those energies on preventing these murders? Or if the matters have occurred, let them have at least 1 or 2 or 3 cases that have been investigated conclusively and somebody has been brought to book.
The most dangerous thing that is happening in this country is trying to politicize security. You cannot politicize security.
What has Kaihura been doing with this police?
Sensitive, that we should leave people who are handling security to do that and do their work perfectly. We should just provide them with information. Security.
Stopping Besigye from going wherever he wants to go. Stopping political rallies is what you call security.
But if Besigye is going to the park and people are going to loot,
not once, not twice.
Are following
not once, not twice. Many of his rallies have been stopped.
Go to Kololo and hold the rally. He wants to go and hold the rally in Old Tax Park. I think that is wrong.
Has he been in this country all this time?
Go to Kololo, hold the rally, invite people, and people will come. Ask police. They designate for an area. You hold the rally. I think
he has been living in London. You don't know what is happening here. You have not been living in this country. If you are talking as it's like that. Don't you know that many times we as a political party, FDC, have tried to hold rallies where even Besigye is not even involved. I can give you an example. In the last presidential party president campaigns we had, one of the candidates, Patrick Kamulato-Boy, was not allowed to hold any rally anywhere. Anywhere. So when you tell me you have to go to Kololo,
what do you mean?
You behave like you have not been in the country.
Let's not use blanket statements. You cannot say Patrick Emler was not allowed to hold any rally.
Where was he allowed?
Where did he campaign? Besigye had a campaign program that he followed, and all his supporters were following that.
I think the point that's coming through here is that we have had a police force, and look, even in today's newspapers, the new IGP Okoth Ochola Martin, did say that, look, professionalism within the police force
is
ended
unfair.
with Katumba Wamala.
It's simply
And one
unfair.
of his concerns, and we interviewed the deputy IGP emeritus, former Julius Odue, who was Kaihura's deputy, who said, look, Kaihura did a great job at militarizing the police, politicizing it. And the issues that they are raising is that, look, we ceased to focus on crime and intelligence and trying to hunt down the criminals, as it were, murderers, robbers, and so on and so forth. We are focusing on politicians. And that is why there will be heavy deployment at Lukwago's house, at Besige's house, and all these different politicians, because we are trying to nip them in the bud. We are imagining they are the biggest threats in this country. In the meantime, in Wakiso and Entebbe, women are being murdered. We are having robberies across, you know, everywhere. You cannot drive in the city here even during the day, and your window is down and you hold your phone and you have that phone with you for even 2 minutes. There's robberies everywhere. People are being attacked at their gates, and there has been very little, if any, focus on that. And that's the problem.
Talking about the murders, I told you, I want to tell all Ugandans, it is very unfortunate.
It's not enough to say it's unfortunate
very
and do nothing about
It's
it.
very unfortunate that this has been happening, and I think that is one of the reasons you see the president is trying to improve security by replacing, by changing people, and by doing a reshuffle, removing the Minister for Security, bringing in General Eli Tumwine. I think all these are efforts aimed at trying to tighten the belt.
Okay, we'll keep watching and see how these efforts will materialize.
You'll see the Muslims say, inshallah, there may be great improvement in a short while. And
we are here. We are watching to see how those improvements will come. Let's move on to something else now. Yesterday was Women's Day. We are celebrating you, the women. Sarah, the NRM, one of the things it prides itself in is that it has helped you women to get out of the quote-unquote kitchen, the proverbial kitchen. You are now, you know, in boardrooms, you are in parliament, you are occupying positions of influence. Would you say, among the many things you said the NRM has done bad, would you say they have scored fairly well on that one?
On bringing women out of the kitchen. I know my friend is going to talk about affirmative action. He's going to say now the women are represented, have district representatives in parliament.
You're preempting.
And have been brought out of the kitchen. Well, the numbers are there. There have been some kind of affirmative action at the top, at parliamentary level and other levels. But to me, it's not important. It does not make sense having a lot of women in parliament, and the numbers do not go down to the rural woman. You see me in Kampala here, but my attachment, sometimes I stay a lot of time in the village. I'm the chairperson of DC Ngora, so most of the time I stay in the rural setting. Me having Speaker Kadaga as a woman, as a speaker, and that one does have no effect on the rural woman, does not make any sense. This kind of affirmative action, if
what
really...
what should have been done?
If that's what I'm coming to explain to you. The kind of affirmative action I wanted the government to be proud of is something which starts from the grassroots. These women, you see Mr. Museveni being proud of, the Kadagas, the Matembes, the Winnie, the Anyimas, they got them already made. Those were the products of Dr. Bote. Then we had affirmative action right from the grassroots. That's why during Obote's time, he put up schools, girls' schools. You know, having girls' schools is affirmative action. You have Namagunga schools, the Nabingos, the Wiranyange, all the girls' schools. That is affirmative action. So if NRM really wanted to be proud of that, as I said, we have created affirmative action from grassroots. Where are your girls' schools for the last 30 years? Where are they? Where are they, you know? So I do not feel it. I wanted us to be proud of having created a woman as a huge institution. You know, we are 52% of the population, but we don't set the pace. I wanted the women to be on the desk of policy making, and not just piling them in parliament, and they don't bite. Even the smallest things. If
What's
I wanted
stopping them from biting, those that are in parliament?
Those are in parliament, I don't know, because I think they choose people who cannot move.
Who chooses? I thought it's the electorate that chooses.
The electorate that chooses, but you know the kinds of elections that we have is the people who have money that go to parliament. So what
that is also not true.
what I really wanted to see in Parliament is us being made into a very powerful institution where we set the pace, where we are in the policy making, but having women in Parliament and they cannot even move a small thing to benefit the women. I can give you an example. We have the issue of sanitary pads. If we had women and they would move issues that would affect the women's life, like sanitary pads, it is shameful to see that we still have taxes on them, and yet we have over 117 women in Parliament. If they woke up one day and said, this is a very important issue, the sanitary pads affects the education of the girls, because once they go, they have their monthly periods and they cannot afford them, they stay out of school for 1 week, and 1 week in a month, that's 3 weeks in a term. They'll not perform well and compete well with the men. That one affects just 1 minute. That one affects their performance, and they will always lag behind. So if the women came out and said, the one little thing that we have to assist the women in is to ensure that there are no taxes on sanitary pads and they are affordable for all girls. That one has not happened. Things that concern women like water, you still find that there's a VAT of 18% slapped on water, and that one affects the women directly. You know, it's, some people think it's as small as that, but those are the things we expect members of Parliament to work on as women in Parliament, so that we can feel it. I want a woman who is all round, politically, socially, and economically empowered. It is useless having Kadaga. It's useless having Kadaga in what? It's useless having Kadaga in as speaker, yet the rural woman in Koloin, in Ngora, cannot afford a matchbox.
All right,
Sarah,
they are not
economically empowered.
Just hold on, Honorable Silwani. Sarah, do I hear you say that the structure has been put in place to enable the women get to the top, but the women that have gotten to the top have disappointed you? Because you talk about the women in Parliament, they are not, you know, passing legislation.
They are not biting.
So the problem then you are saying is the women themselves, those that have been elevated.
Of course, and once there's a collective responsibility and they have to panel beat you like they do in the NRM caucuses, sometimes you blame them just a little, because everything they have to do
Why
has
don't
to
they
be
stand up and be counted? Why don't they say no?
That is where that's where the fault
is. There are
is.
some women that and I hear they are calling themselves generals or something. Some women within the NRM MPs that voted no, for example, against the age limit. So why can't the others do the same?
So
why if they vote yes, why should we blame let's say Museveni as opposed to those individual MPs?
You see a woman being told that you can bring any class of woman as long as they wake up and vote. Also, the quality of women we send to Parliament is an issue, because there are those who stood up, like you have just said, but some cannot with what? Cannot
withstand the pressure.
I think
the financial pressure from the NRM.
I think something that shocks me with the opposition is that you lament even when things are okay. Sarah Epel talking here is a product of affirmative action. You're a product of affirmative action. It is NRM that created this. Look at the space that the NRM government has created for women. From number 3 in the country.
Yeah, I fought for my space.
That is the Speaker.
There's nothing
of
like
Parliament.
affirmative in me.
Down to the grassroots, women can speak for themselves. And
especially at the grassroots. You talk about number 3, the Kadagas of this world.
No, number 3 is just the beginning. But up to the grassroots, women are empowered. These days, they are establishments. You cannot just harass a woman. Much as there are still mild challenges that we need to work on, that we need to talk about. Men who still fight women.
Cases of domestic violence and so on. So when you call them mild,
cases of domestic violence are all over the world.
So it's okay for them to happen.
No. You know that cases of domestic violence cannot be totally eliminated. But saying that NRM has not done something for women, I think Sarah is really wrong. And then talking about water, VAT on water, we are talking about the majority women who are in the rural areas. Like, where is the VAT on the boreholes? that women go there and fetch water.
That's for the boreholes that are available. You know that women walk miles and miles to access water, which is not even very clean.
mean, government is struggling to provide this. So for us to say that government has not done something for women, when Sarah is a product of affirmative action and she's on TV today speaking to Ugandans, this shows how empowered, how strong
to show I'm
this government of NRM has brought you.
Me,
I think you should thank.
I think
you should thank.
That is
you should thank government before you ask for more.
When
you would not be here on TV talking to Uganda.
No.
True, we are having challenges.
But medicines in hospital.
No, but that shows that you are empowered. You can talk for yourself.
And all of that, what thanks to the NRM,
what
right?
is empowerment? That's
Look
what the
at
government has done.
Of the matter, my dear brother.
Yes,
19 women are dying every day.
That's what government has
in
done.
Hospitals, and you think when I come here, things are rosy.
So before you comment, before you criticize, first appreciate, say, whereas the NRM government has provided space politically, socially, and economically to women, we need to improve in 1, 2, 3. Because in life there are always challenges. There is no perfect situation. So let us first, we should first appreciate that NRM has brought them up, NRM, including her, because behind you would not see such powerful women speaking on TV and educating Ugandans. In FDC, in opposition, a strong woman, and you know.
Listen for a moment.
Yeah, you should thank NRM.
Does not put medicines in hospitals.
That is now the issue of challenge.
That is where women from dying every day.
Definitely, that is now where you should say we have been empowered, but we have challenges. Yeah, that's where you should say. The challenges should be tackled.
Don't try to trivialize it.
Honorable Silwani, when you say that the women should be grateful and so on, I get perplexed when government wants us to send it flowers for doing what it's supposed to do. You know that, for example, government has put in place a road, so we should say thank you, but that's what you're supposed to do.
Yes, but if you say it has not done what it's supposed to do.
When, for example, I report to work early and I do my job, for heaven's sake, that's what I signed up to do.
Yes,
right? So I shouldn't expect that my boss should be saying.
But if your boss is saying, if people are saying you're not working, when you are reported to work early, you're doing very perfectly, doing all your reports.
No, what actually you're saying is that when I report to work early and I'm not thanked, I'm only criticized when I don't deliver. But of course, the right things are the expected.
In the area of women empowerment, I think women empowerment, government has scored in 90s, and I think we just need to improve more. And even the Pelus would not be here today.
Okay. So Sarah, why are you ungrateful? These people have scored 90s and 90s.
Excellent.
But you are ungrateful. You do not want to say thank you. You are greedy, in other words, for more.
I wanted him to say.
According to him.
Look at Ngora. Use your example.
All right, let's listen to her then.
You know, the way he's trying to trivialize it, because Sarah Peru can come on TV and talk, so all the other women are doing well, is very absurd. I want you to look at the gist of the matter. What is the woman at the grassroots benefiting, really? Go to the rural, or you come from Bujiri. Yes. Look at the rural woman. What kind of life is she living? Because you're talking about borehole water, for example, in your village. Like dry weather now. How many miles do they walk to get the water? How many hours do they fetch?
We are trying to put water.
When you go to hospitals, up to tomorrow, 19 women are dying every day in hospital because of lack of laxity in the health sector. There are no medicines in hospital, yet many medicines were burnt the other day. You remember? They spent a lot of money destroying medicines that should have saved lives in hospital. So NRM has given us a raw deal as women.
All right,
I wish there was something really I would be proud of. Then I've
got a minute to wrap this up. My time is up. I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds to tell me what do you think the focus should be on, such that next year when we are celebrating Women's Day, we shall not be lamenting, we shall be saying this and this has been done. What are those issues that you think need to be addressed by your government?
The focus should be on continuing to equip women with skills, support women education like the scholarship schemes in universities and other tertiary institutions, training more doctors who are women, who are going to support the lives of women, and supporting the girl child and promoting girl child education, because that is where we are going to have more empowered women. We shall have the Pelus, the Kadagas, the Nankabirwas of this country that have already risen.
And to you, Sarah, what are those things that you think need to be focused on beginning today, such that by next Women's Day we shall be saying this and that has been done?
There is one thing I've forgotten to talk about that they always rhyme about, that we've given them handouts to do business here and there. But we, the women, do not think giving out handouts will assist us. Handouts would not develop a nation. We want an empowered woman. And how do you empower her? Put an conducive environment for her to flourish. For example, many of the rural women depend on agriculture. Look at the budget that we put into agriculture. If they put enough money into agriculture, for example, in my district in Ngora, we use ox plows to dig, but the government cannot even, in the agriculture program, cannot think of doing such things for the rural woman. Well, so if you can empower us and put a conducive environment,
the way we are
put a lot in the agriculture, get us market and infrastructure so that we can get good market and good prices from our goods. I think it would be better than giving out handouts.
Okay, my time is up.
We want medicines in hospitals, and of course everything will work out. Because if you can afford good treatment in hospitals, if the healthcare is affordable, then why would Sare Peru complain?
Okay.
If there are fewer women dying every day,
but we hope that we shall serve the food and the Evigenderako. My time is up, I'm afraid.
Then I don't think I'll have anything to cry about. But as far as I'm concerned, the NRM has given us a raw deal.
Oliver Trist.
All right, thank you, Honorable Solomon Silwani and Sarah Peru, for talking to us this morning. Well, that's it for the big story. We'll take a quick break. Morning at 10 TV.